All right, I think this is working. Looks like it. All right, so yeah, we're just going to be doing a little bit of Mechabellum today. Haven't played this in a while. I just want to check to see if there's any new units. I don't think there are. There shouldn't be. We actually did do a pretty big play when the Vortexes came out and tried to sort of figure them out a little while. I don't think I found anything too like substantial as far as like figuring out what exactly they do. I don't even, yeah, I didn't even unlock everything with them, but that's fine. Um, I'm not going to try and force units this time because I don't think I've got anything new to like super try out right now, although things probably have been balance patched quite a bit since the last time I played. So we'll try and figure out what exactly is going on in the meta, but we're just going to start playing the game a little bit. See what's out there and see what's going on. But that does mean I probably have like the wrong unit loadouts on everything, but we'll find out. Wonder if the community for this game is still pretty healthy. Looks like there are players in queue. The game's been out for quite a while. It's been like for what it is has been successful historically. So like if it does kind of die out and people stop playing it because it's been around for a long time and people don't need to keep at it. One day that's sort of going to happen to this game, and like that's kind of fine. But I like playing it, so I hope that lasts for a little bit longer. But I got a good amount out of it honestly already. So all right. All right, so we got aerial, missile, supply, and giant. Um, I'm feeling like we go aerial specialist might be interesting. The combination of Fire Badger and Fang is bad because we're running into the situation where we don't have any sort of anti heavy tech. So we are going to have to get something like the Marksman, or we could get like the Phoenix and get one Phoenix stack, which would not be ideal, or we could get like Marksman, which would be the sort of standard here. I do think I go for the standard. I'm going to go for the Marksman. Now, if my opponent has run certain types of heavy things, then they're going to absolutely crush me there, but all right. And then we got all this stuff here. So he's definitely going to add chaff. Although I have got the fire badgers, and those do really wreck up people who go chaff. The speed for these is 9 meters per second. The speed for these guys is 6, so we want to go something like this. I think that they're probably not going to want to walk in front of this thing with the stuff that they've got here, but same thing sort of goes for me. That's fine. I think we could go something like this, and that'll be okay. Up against Training Specialist. And they have indeed gone for an extra couple of these crawlers. Yeah, so the thing that they're going to run into, I think, is that they're going to get tangled in this, they're going to get shot up by this, and will easily clear out like all this stuff on this side. And then on this side, I think that their crawlers are actually going to make it into this thing before any of their other stuff can. So it's going to be like all of our stuff firing and killing them before they can really get at us the way they probably want to. Then we're firing like our sniper at these guys, like even though he's got the upgrade. Yeah, that's pretty clear and easy win for us. Okay, so we're now at that point where I think we're gonna grab the improved scorpions, I think. But what we really want right now is actually to get access to the phoenixes. And we're gonna have those sort of take over for our like marksman duty. These things move quite a bit faster than all my other stuff here, so I am actually gonna have them farther back. I would like to actually get upgrades on these guys eventually, but Let's see what my opponent's up to here. Now, being aerial spec, I am also getting like stronger aerial units. Oh, he sold something. What did he sell? One of his units of steel ball. Okay. That's actually reasonable. Steel ball are hard to use unless you've got like a very dedicated steel ball kind of strategy. And he's used them to replace with saber tooths. So if he gets 2 saber tooths, I instant win this round. So that's good for me. And he did get 2 saber tooths, and he gets another unit though. Okay, what's the third? Actually, he doesn't have anything else unlocked, so it's gonna be like. Yeah, what's the third unit that he's getting? Another of these guys. Yeah, so we'll instantly win this round. We actually we don't care. I am thinking that we get more chaff now. I don't think arc lights are actually the best into crawlers, is what's historically true, but I actually don't remember very well. Oh, they got the one guy though. Okay, I wouldn't mind getting something that's a little bit just sort of cheap and spammy so that it can kind of survive some shots here, but I do think that we want to switch to crawlers here. I'm going to grab a Farseer. And we're just going to put it back here. Promote you. Going to go ahead and grab the crawlers. Now, he is going to have to get some anti-air. But what we're going to do is going to go range enhancement on these, and that's just going to make it so that he can't actually like shoot them down very effectively, because it'll come in, he'll hit our other stuff first, and then he'll get after those. So if I could actually get recycle, that would actually be good, because I do want to start getting rid of some of this stuff here. I don't really care about it that much. We're going to reach the point pretty soon where we get rid of that. Yeah, he's gone for the anti-air arc light upgrade, actually, which we should actually be far back enough that it won't actually trigger this. He'll still have to kill our frontliners first. He's also gone for wasps, which is interesting into this composition here. That will let him clear me out, though, I think, this turn. I think that he's got the advantage. Because, like, my things that are going to kill the wasps are fangs, and fangs are not necessarily going to survive that long with all these arc lights around, because I do think that the arc lights are probably going to shoot mostly at them. The one Farseer is actually helping out quite a bit in this instance here. Okay, so we've won this side. Very funny, this thing going on here. And we're actually going to win this side, too. Very nice. Okay. So another Farseer actually lets me win off that side as well, too. Okay, I'm going to take the advanced missile device. I'm going to go ahead and upgrade these guys, upgrade this. And I'm just going to get something that I can get for free here. Let's go ahead and grab the Mustangs in case he's going for a complete spam of those air units. And then we're probably going to want more fangs here, actually. And then we're going to have those guys... Actually, no, let's do one of you. And another fangs. So Going to do all of that, and then I'm going to take field recovery. Going to use that to pull back this thing, because I don't really need it. Then we're going to do 2 enhancements. They've gone for Wasp Swarm, but with the spread out of Fangs here, he can't, like, drop it in too many places. He could drop it back here. That would be the best spot for it. But he doesn't know that I've got this here, so if these guys get that near it, then we'll be able to sort of take those guys out. He's gone for Overcharge on the Arc Lights. I'm going to actually want to start putting down Scorpions pretty soon. He's gone for a bunch more Fangs on this side here. I could definitely think about getting the range enhancement on the Fire Badgers. Alternative to that, I could actually just get the scanning radar over on this side. That airdrop actually is going to be real annoying, because I think he's going to get this thing. Fortunately, though, that's the only time he can do that. He can't do that every turn, so it doesn't really matter that much. And we're still going to win the round. Alright. So that worked out okay. So he's down that. It's going to take him another, like, 3 turns before I can use it. Acid Blast is potentially annoying here. Underground Threat's potentially annoying here, but I'm going to not worry about any of those. I'm definitely not going to take it. Vulcan's Descent is also kind of annoying, but I'm going to, again, ignore that. Okay, so we're going to go with the Scanning Radar. Bring in all these units. There we go. Okay. I think we go for getting Wraiths pretty soon here. I said I wanted to get Scorpions, and I kind of do, actually. Let's go ahead and get that. Let's go ahead and get... I guess we'll get a Scorpion. My opponent wins a round based on just, like, getting a bunch of anti... whatever, then I'm kind of fine with that. Let's get another one of you. Guess I could have left that other thing on there. You know what? I'm going to drop this over here just for the hell of it. Because I've got the 100 points and I might as well. Mobile power station. He's got the... Well, that's actually more powerful than I think it used to be. Because that also has an increase on attack power. Okay, so they've gone for some anti-missile tech here. Okay, so they got kind of rocked out on that mission there, or that that particular round. Okay, we're going to take Efficient Giant Manufacturing. We're going to take this opportunity here to start going for the... Let's go with Rydens here. I'm going to try that out. I actually don't think this is the right call necessarily, because I think that the Overlords are stronger, but the Rydens are cheaper. So I can go ahead and pick down 2 of those. And I can go ahead and field recovery that. I really should be getting some more chaff units here. So next round we're probably going to invest into a little bit of that sort of stuff here. We'll go ahead and get another shield and we'll put it over here. I do need to get, at the very least, the range enhancement on these guys, because like otherwise they're really, really bad. And then getting something like electromagnetic shot or something like that would probably be good to add to these. It's actually better for me to be getting the Raidens than the Overlords, though, in a certain sense here, because like my opponent has got all this sort of anti-missile on the field now that's shooting down like a limited number. So if I did Overlords, they would actually just null my damage. So this is probably the better call anyway. He's going for these sort of things. I definitely want to get more chaff on the field here. Like, my opponent doesn't have very much or very good chaff clear in particular in this instance, so like whatever I can get that's going to help me with that is going to be disproportionately good at dealing with the situation. So I think what we get is like we get like another 2 sets of fangs, and then we add in like another set of we'll probably get like fang shields, I think, pretty soon here. Yep. Very close. The Scorpions would also potentially be good. Oh, we can actually just get the Overlords for free here. I actually kind of like the idea of that. But given what we're about to do, I actually think that we get the Rhinos. Ending undelivered. I actually don't mind the ending for Signalis. Which ending did you get? Because I think that probably makes a big difference as to like what your sort of perception of that is to a degree there. Because I actually really quite like the ending, sort of thematic based on like everything else that's going on. Like I don't think the ending under delivered at all. Um, uh, I don't want that. I think we're gonna go for a kill turn this turn, so we're just gonna go with these 2 things. Uh, yeah, that I don't mind that one. I think that was pretty well done, honestly. Given the nature of the story, like it's probably sort of like a difficult ending. I feel like in a certain way there, I guess is how I would describe it. Yeah, I ended up getting the other ending because like I didn't stick around long enough, is what I think it is. We actually won on the other side, so we swapped sides for once. But I'm definitely going to be. You don't think that? I thought it had the emotional build up. I thought it did a really good job on that part. A lot of sort of what's is going on in that sort of story is really about that kind of like that sort of willingness to strive to sort of like do that sort of thing, just working over and over again until you can get there. I think it works out pretty well for that. If you're like hoping for there to be like a lot of scenes where it like spells out that they've got this really deep sort of relationship and stuff like that, it does understate that a little bit, I think. But I also don't think that that's necessarily bad per se. Still don't have any tech points. Let's just go into another one. Yeah, I technically had the other one, which is strictly speaking the like worse ending, I think, is how you're supposed to construe that. But I also think that it works perfectly fine as an ending. But like yeah, I'm trying to remember. I thought that it worked out well emotionally, as far as what it was. But it also does depend on sort of like how thorough you are in a certain it rushed. I don't think it rushed the build up. That's what I was about to say. It depends to a certain degree, like on how you were getting through the game, because there's a lot of like, no, like that's what I was sort of saying. There's actually a lot of sort of elements that lead into that that are early in the game, but you have to sort of like really dig for what they're actually about because like they're strewn throughout the entire game. Um, so that's why I think that it's probably hit differently in that sort of sense. But there's a good deal of like interpretation layers that you have to go through to get to that in the earlier parts of the game because your memories are weird. Because like the person that you are at the start is not the same as the person that you are at the end in a sort of literal sense. Not even just in the I've grown as a character kind of way, which is like normal for good storytelling, but like um, in a lot of interpretations of the game, you're literally a different person at the beginning of the game as compared to who you are at the end of the game. Um, what the hell do I want to do here? Typhoon specialist? All right, sure. You're a very thorough. Um, Probably, but it's thorough on a sort of a like literary analysis kind of level because it's not so much about like getting all the documents and stuff like that. It's hard to explain because like there are a lot of moments during the early parts of the game that I felt did sort of expound on the idea of who these people are as characters, what they're talking about, and how they what they mean to each other and stuff like that. Um, but it's not usually telling you like directly. It's usually sort of like alluding to those ideas. And sometimes it's not even giving you the sort of ideas directly by talking to it through the sense of like these characters specifically are engaging in the world in that way. It's usually like allegories through other characters who are experiencing similar things as you because they're deliberately meant to be experiencing the same things as you, um, in a weird sort of way. Or at least that was my interpretation of it because like one of the things that you sort of find out throughout the story is that like you're experiencing a reality that's been heavily corrupted in terms of its perception of like how other people are experiencing the story, and that includes all of the npcs that you meet. Like they're not experiencing their own reality, they're experiencing a sort of like curated form of your reality through your perception sort of thing, rather than just seeing the world as it is, if that describes it any good way there. Probably doesn't. Oh god, what's happening? But that was sort of the question I was sort of also asking myself the entire time that I never quite figured out is like, you know, what exactly is real in that game? I don't know. Sea of Consciousness deal? Yeah. Well, even in the literal sense, if you take the story at its most literal, like in the sense of like this is what the story is like directly about, um, like Ariana is supposed to be this sort of psychic entity that's sort of manipulating things subconsciously and is making it so that everyone else is like sort of being corrupted by her and through the original Esther unit that she was interacting with. And that sort of combination of things makes it so that the two of them are sort of like supposed to find each other so that they can fulfill the promise, even though they can't fulfill the promise because the Esther unit died before she was able to do that. Blah blah blah. Um, yeah, yeah. Falk is hallucinating Ariana just as much as you are. So what when you see like other people experiencing like their moments of relationship, you're supposed to take as an allegory for the experience of relationship that you have with Ariana because that's what they are in a certain sense there. Um, the thing that I again have trouble with is I don't know what layer of like non-reality that the game is supposed to be working on. So it's hard for me to tell exactly like how much of that you're actually supposed to take from it, per se, because it's very possible that like you're reading into it in one way or another, but you're reading into it the wrong way, blah blah blah. Like that would be very possible and very plausible and very easy to do given the nature of the game. Because like one thing that I always sort of got stuck on when I was interpreting the game was like if Ariana is actually the sort of like high level reality warping entity that's capable of using her psychic powers to completely mess with reality in a fundamental level, like is it not possible that she could have brought a situation where because she can bring things back from the dead, for example, up to a certain limit there or something like that. Like, would it be possible for her to have like saved herself and potentially the original Esther unit if in the first place? And to me, it also doesn't seem like it's just the way that it's interpreting things because to me, it actually does seem as though there is some sort of element of eternal recursion, not just their looping back around themselves and they're experiencing um, doubles of things because like they're repeating with different people. Like the way that the game sort of leads you to believe the things are going on is that um, they're experiencing things the same as they are in a loop because Ariana's corrupting like an Esther unit, and the Esther unit goes and repeats this process and does the same thing over and over and over again. But certain things don't really work chronologically if you interpret it necessarily that way. So I think there's a deeper level of eternal recursion that's sort of going on there. Because I sort of mentioned, like I understand a lot of the German philosophy in this, and like Nietzsche is a very important part of the philosophy of Signalis, as far as I can tell. But one of the things about that eternal recursion sort of element is like that sort of time is a flat circle sort of thing. Like in the way that they're doing it in Signalis, it seems to me like there actually is maybe some element of that actually happening in a chronological sort of sense there, where everything's going back to being the way it was. So like she has to be a very very powerful sort of like person who warps at time and so on and so forth. But if that's the case, like does she actually need to do any of this? It's very difficult for me to like lay out exactly what I think is weird about it. But to me, it almost seems like the entire thing might actually just be like within the head of a deranged dying person and not actually happening even within the context of the fiction. But like it's hard to say. It's just a dream is like such a cop out sort of thing to respond to the situation with. Like it's also been a while since I played the game, but um, yeah, I don't know what I should take here. Um, I feel as though like a lot of whether or not you're going to sort of interpret certain things one way or another depends a lot on like how are you looking at the substance of the content and like how are you interpreting it, because depending on how you interpret it, like the resonance of the emotional parts is going to hit you differently, right? The implication is that she's the most powerful bioresonant person since the Empress. Yeah, yeah. But if that's sort of the case, like do I actually believe that that's the case, or do I think that that's the wishful sort of thinking of a dying person? Because I think those are both valid reads as well. Because like, is there a reason then that she can't like fix any of her inherent problems? And there is actually a reason why in canon why she cannot, and it's because she's like ridiculously depressed, which I think is fair enough, I guess. Trying to tell someone like they have to just sort of think their way out of their own depression, even if they're like omnipotent, doesn't really work, obviously. But The fact that that seems to be like the way that it is hard to reckon with when you do seem to think that her underlying subconscious desires do leak through. So that being the case, it like feels as though there's got to be some level. Not been around playing Persona 5 Royal again? I'm surprised that you haven't finished that. But yeah, welcome back. Yeah, to be fair, I'm also going to have to get my computer fixed. It's chugging. It has been having some problems. Um, I'm going to go ahead and get this, I think. And then I'm going to fill the board with more chaff, I think. I kind of, yeah, just more chaff. I haven't been paying attention to how they've developed the other side of the board here. She's not aware of her bioresonance. It's true that she's not consciously aware of her bioresonance. She's not like willfully directing it, but everything that happens is like her subconscious leaking through. Which is why I think that there should be some elements, like, unless she just literally has no happiness left within her, which is very possible. Like, that is actually possible. Um, but, like, a lot of the stuff that's supposed to be happening to everybody in the game and, like, what's going on within the context of it only really makes sense in the sense of, like, her influencing things based on, like, the essence of her subconscious sort of mind there. Like, that's kind of how that has to go. Which, you know, fair enough, you know, one way or the other. Oh shit. I was not paying attention. Actually, I think that's new. So, you know what? That's fine. Your cooler broke. I know what you mean, but it sounds funny to hear you call it that because, like, most of the time we don't call it a cooler. Where I am, like, we call it, like, the fan or whatever. A cooler is like a box that you put stuff in. Oh god, this is gonna suck. Do we kill? I think we do, actually. Okay. You did complete Persona 5 Royal? Yeah, I thought you would have by now. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I also did check the other ending for other endings for that game, so I know what they are. Even though I got like the one where they just both sort of like lie down next to each other. I don't know. What was your sort of opinion on things? Do you think that like it's just she's setting the situation up so that they do a like sort of soft repeat of everything, or do you think that it's like there's a like sort of time warp element where things are sort of like where time is not flowing properly? Because I feel like its time is not flowing properly, even though the story is saying that it's she's resetting things with her psychic abilities. Because I think that time and space are getting warped. It feels like more than it is just the alternative. Oh right, I forgot about this shit. Was not paying attention again. You know what? We're ahead by enough that it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna have to get like 3 or 4 of the what's it called? Come to realization the original Persona 5 is better than Royal. Took his parallel realities blended together. Um, I don't think that it's. It could be parallel realities getting blended together. Yeah, that's a way to interpret it. I feel like. Um, the thing that like stuck out to me the most, that was the most interesting, was like finding that additional, like basically the body beside the casket at that one point. Because it's clearly yours. Like you're clearly taking your own arm off of yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna lose this round. That's fine. I need Ooh, we drew. That's interesting. He definitely won the trade though, but okay. We'll go added deployment. Gonna go for the melting points. And I'm gonna go extended range on them. Okay, I'm gonna do a last turn like mega drop thing here. So, what have we got back here? Got those with burn. That's fine. These guys with burn. I just need to delay them on that side for a little bit until we can get everything sort of positioned the way I want them to be. But I'm actually gonna put them on this side. I don't actually think Alina and Ariana are the same person. Because the way that they talk about like Gestalts and stuff like that, I actually think they might be different people. I think that they found an Esther unit that had a similar goal and a similar like mindset to the Esther unit that you were looking for, or that was originally with you rather. And they sort of like functionally came in and like started overwriting your memory. This is the sort of like core canon, like not necessarily what I think is necessarily happening on a sort of resonant level there, but um, okay, we got this. Yeah, we got this. But yeah, I think that they're trying to look for people who are analogous to one another with similar sort of goals. Um, where well, that's the sort of thing that they talk about in the actual story is that like Ariana is taking people who are sort of similar enough to the Esther unit that she lost, and she's trying to overwrite the memories and thoughts and ideas of them. She's mentally taking them over. So this is why I was saying that the Esther unit that you start off with in the game is a different person than the one that you heatsink is the proper term. Oh yeah, for your computer, yeah. So like the one that she finds is someone that had a similar mind, similar body, similar sort of like goal and drive as the one that she's like lost, so that she can more easily mold that Esther unit into the one that she wants it to be, so that she can get that one to go find her, having rewritten her and made her into the one that she wants it to be. That's sort of the um, version of it that's sort of explained in the game, which I don't necessarily know is actually real. So, like the original one is looking for Alina, who is her Gestalt, if I recall correctly. Um, but Ariana is a different person who isn't your Gestalts. They're different people. So, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure like if which way you're supposed to take that though. So you could be that could be the way that you're supposed to assume it. I think they're supposed to be like not the same person, but they're supposed to be analogous people. Is I guess what I would say they're supposed to be. All right, what did the ability that I just got actually do? Every 5 attacks deploy shield 3 for the current location. Increase the required attacks to the next shield by 5. The shield is base HP of 2,000, increasing by an additional 2,000 HP per vortex level. Hmm. Gestalts are kind of just people. They're not the original. I might be getting it backwards. I thought they were the like clones of the original people, or were the what was the name for the people who are clones then? Because it's not the replicants. There's like the replicants are like biosynthetics, and then there's the like uh, people at the sort of top, which are sort of like in cryostasis or whatever, and used as reference for the Gestalts, and the Gestalts are like clones. Or am I getting that backwards? But yeah, they use the like sort of pairing system, don't they? I'm getting all the confused because like a lot of it's gibberish, and it's been like a year since I played this. Uh, but yeah, like I remember that specifically. You're looking for somebody who's a different person at the beginning, and then you start looking for someone else later, and it's not just that like they're the same person. It's supposed to be that one person, your desire to find one person gets overwritten by a desire to find a different person later on. And Alina's like been dead for a long time at the start of the game. The replicas are based on the crowd people, just altered people. Was that the way it was? Yeah, that could be it. Either way, they have to make sure that the names are as like unhumaning as possible, basically. Elstrians are paired with a pilot. Yeah, that is probably what I'm mixing up there. But I'm trying to remember. Like, you never definitively find out who Alina So is in that game. I don't believe, in reference to like if she's related to you in any way, shape, or form. Like, she probably is to the original Elster unit, like that. Well, the one that gets overwritten, basically. But like, I don't actually know if that's true. It's hard to say. Um, it's a confusing game. What do I want to do with this? I don't. No. Yep, no, I've seen the um Persona 4 revival thing come out a while ago. Yeah, she's just Ariana, and another reality is my take. I think that that's sort of valid, but I think that the way that they're direct, like the thing that they directly say in the plot is that she's not, is actually what that is. But I think that given how much m- muckery there is with like what reality actually is in that game, that it's totally a valid way of interpreting it. I think there's so much where your reality is getting overwritten by Ariana that like you're totally fine with us sort of assuming that that's probably what it actually is. But um, my take is that like you're originally supposed to be looking for a person who like gets completely gotten rid of there. P5 is better than P5R narratively. Um, I kind of agree with that. I don't actually think that P5R takes away anything from Persona 5, technically speaking. The only thing is like the optional final extra content boss at the end is like kind of narratively not great, but it doesn't so it doesn't explicitly say that she and the other are explicitly different people, but timeline wise and chronologically, like in your case you're assuming like it's parallel dimensions and parallel worlds, and I don't think that it's parallel worlds. I didn't get that from the story. um they quote too much Nietzsche for me to think that it's parallel worlds. um where if you sort of take Alina to be the same person, like the timelines don't coincide with each other, where it's impossible for them to actually be the same person, unless you assume that like you know, in your interpretation that it is just a parallel world and they've shifted from one reality to another reality, and that's sort of what's happening, then they can be. Um, Although then they would still be different people because you're talking about an entity that exists in like world A, who's Alina, and then you've got person in reality B who's different. Boss battles take a little bit longer in P5. They're shortened. Are they? I didn't notice that. It's probably because they had such a big gap between the two of them. Um, I don't really mind boss battles being a bit shorter or whatever because boss battles tend to be a little bit gimmicky in a lot of Atlas games, but especially in Metaphor, God, I think the graphics are better. I didn't notice that, but it probably was. I'm gonna get rid of grid integration. I'm gonna try the accumulator shields. I don't use these guys though. I find them a little bit weird. It's combined with the looping. Well, that's what I think is happening. I don't think it's they're changing realities. I think that it's just looping in through the same reality over and over and over again. That's my take on it. And I think that like the thing that makes me think that is that when you sort of like lose your arm and you're on the spaceship and you like break in there, like the person who you steal the arm from and the person who you steal the chest armor from is yourself. Like that's you at the end of the non at one of the endings, and like you die in that position there, and that's you. So you come in, you steal your own arm, you steal your own armor, and then you continue on, and then you die there, only to have your arm stolen and to have your armor stolen um, off your dead body by yourself. So to me, it's that eternal recurrence thing again. I think they reference that too much for me to think that it's parallel realities. I think it's just looping through the same reality. But that's my interpretation. There's no specific reason to believe that's true. So, in that sort of context, though, if you believe that it is just looping and it's like the same people going through the same events over and over and over and over and over again, then like in that case, you don't believe that Alina So and Ariana are the same person. In that case, then they're explicitly not. Um, but even just timeline wise, like they can't be the same person just by default. There's a short Persona 5 sequel where you go around Japan finding small bosses in a van. Isn't that just when you're in the train station? I feel like that's just when you're in. I can't even remember the name of that goddamn place. Underground Tartarus. When you're in Underground Tartarus, isn't that what you're doing? I feel like that's what you're doing. I should probably try those stupid crabs a little bit, but they're not very good by themselves. I don't know when you put them on the board. Alina's the version of Ariane that didn't get sent out in a ship. Ariana's the version that becomes a pilot. Even then, I don't know that the timelines work super well because, like, Ariana gets actually sent out quite a bit before that base gets put there. From my understanding of it, like she's been dead for a long time by that base is there. Um, but I could be wrong about that. I'd have to double check the notes. But yeah, because like your ship is supposed to have like crashed and you're supposed to have died before they started doing the excavation, which then finds the obelisk that lets you travel to the place where you died, sort of thing. Well, all right, this will force me to use the crabs. But hmm, what do I actually? Do these things kill heavy or light? Well, I don't mind Kasumi. I think Kasumi's fine. She's not necessarily like a default like this is my favorite character or anything like that, but I think she's fine. Well, actually, no, she's not there. But that's a different character. But we won't get. We've all beaten the game. What am I talking about? Yeah, so Sumire is like fine. I don't know anything about Kasumi. Maybe she's fine. I have no idea. Well, she's not fine. She's dead. But this is going to be an awful composition here. I've got like a terrible composition. Kasumi isn't it? Yeah. Oh god. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get absolutely rocked this round. Like, there's just nothing I can do about that, really. Yep, absolutely destroyed. I don't know if there's any actual coming back from this start. Like, this is such a bad start in terms of like what I can do here. It's gonna be kind of bad, but I'll do the mobile beacon. I kind of have to get like my own saber tooths here. That's kind of my only option, and then I'm gonna get screwed over because I don't have any chaff clear. Like the thing that I particularly just didn't like about Persona 5 Royal was just that it felt like there's no willingness to compromise in it whatsoever. Because I don't actually think the Doctor is entirely wrong, but I definitely don't agree with like he's what he's doing either. Like I think that it's a mix. I forgot that I'm playing Costa Specialist. I haven't played this commander in a long time. He's just gone for more Sabertooths. Sequel called Persona 5 Strikers. Yeah, I haven't really looked into Strikers. That's more of an action RPG, and I'm not a huge fan of those necessarily. I don't mind them per se, but like I don't really prefer them. Okay, I'm gonna have to do something very different here to get this turned around in my favor a little bit. Probably chaff, honestly. I could also probably just accept that this is probably a doomed start here. No, I kind of got that. You're just talking about the ending itself. I actually still think that the ending was really good, but I think we're gonna go range enhancement on these boys, and then we're gonna have to get a bunch of chaff here. Then we're gonna have to go mass recruitment, get even more of these. And if I could get a bonus thing on somebody, that would be great, but I can't, so... Oh well. Yeah, I'm not sure what I would have really wanted them necessarily to do with the ending that would be different. Like, to me, again, I think it also comes down to interpretation, because it's a heavily interpretive game. Like, none of the stuff that we're talking about is 100% this is definitely what happened in the game, and that's the way it is. It's very much like a... you got to sort of piece together what you believe the game's doing at any given time anyway. So that sort of being said, like, your interpretation of it's, like, perfectly valid and everything like that. But from the way that I'm sort of looking at the game, I do think that they introduced all those concepts like quite early on. But Scorpions remain one of the most ridiculous units in this game here. The execution, that's surprising. I thought that that was pretty good. In the sense that was kind of sudden, I guess, or like because it does happen fairly quickly. Like it is a fairly quick ending. Like there's not a ton that of like lead up for the last moments there. You kind of fight what's her name, and then like you kind of immediately just wander over after that. It felt rushed. You might have noticed this for me though. Like I get to a point where the game's like, if this game has said what it's meant to say, I want it to end now. So like I didn't feel that. That's a me thing though. I can understand you saying that. Okay, I've turned this around a little bit. Like every Persona game I played, I'm like, oh wow, I've finally beaten Persona whatever or Metaphor or whatever. I can get to the ending. It's been great. I love the journey. And then there's another 5 hours of game. So yeah, I guess I'm like a rush person. Yeah, I'll see you around. Good luck with your computer. Hopefully it's pretty easy to fix. Okay, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do a couple of these. And then this. Persona kind of has the opposite problem. I'm kind of like that for like literally every game though. Like it's a me thing. I'm like okay, we've gotten to the point where there's like the big climax. I want them to sort of like wrap up relatively quickly on a kind of high note. Like you finish your fight against I literally cannot remember her name. It's been too long, but you know, you finish that up. You've beaten the final boss. You know, you've gotten everything going on there, uh, and then like you know it ends. And I think that that's a good way of doing things personally. But I definitely can see people who want like more explanation, more epilogue, or you know more of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm not that person. Okay, so we're going to get destroyed here. I'm gonna have to get a whole bunch of anti-Mustang. I'm not even really sure necessarily what they could have done to like extend the ending to make it like more satisfying in that sort of sense there. Okay, I guess I have to take this. Actually, you know what? Let's swerve here. Let's take something that I don't think my opponent's gonna expect. Now he's gonna put something heavier over there. So we're just gonna do this. Actually, he's gonna evacuate them. He's got the whatever. I still have to do this just in case. But that means that we want to do it more like this here. Adler would have been a better fit. I don't think that Adler would have been a better fit. I actually think that his role in it, as being what he was probably what it should have been. I don't think that having more of him would have really made any sense. Yep, there they go. Did he sell them? No? Interesting. I probably need to get acid added to my scorpions for getting rid of these things faster. Ooh, I need electricity, actually. Well, on the plus side, we're not going to die, but we're certainly not going to be able to win this one. Actually, I might die here anyway, because they've got enough that I might still lose off points here. Yeah, this is where acid would have really helped. Do I have one hit point left? Nope, I don't. Damn. I think that Falk probably is fine in terms of that context. There's actually also quite a lot of like little bits in describing what's going on in terms of like the Falk unit. Like it didn't take very long before I started wondering like if I was actually the same as the Falk unit, which is kind of interesting. I think that maybe they could definitely have done some more with that, but it's kind of hard to say for sure. I don't really think that Adler works. I don't know who else you would really have had as a kind of boss, honestly. Um, and the problem with like Falk is that if you did have Falk awake more often, you would just fight her earlier, so it wouldn't really work there either. Um, so I don't know who else you could really choose per se. I think that you're kind of stuck in that sort of sense there. Oops, it's the wrong button. I mean, I know that maybe you're thinking you could wake up the Falk unit and the two of you could work together towards like maybe the common cause or something like that, but her diaries and roll were fine. Yeah, like I thought that was okay. Like I can definitely see like maybe it came kind of out of left field a little bit that you're now fighting Falcon. That's the final boss. I don't. I felt like that made sense enough. Doesn't work as a boss. I don't know who else would though. It's not really like horror game bosses don't usually work. That's kind of the problem, I guess, is what it really boils down to. There aren't really many horror game bosses that really work. Don't think she needed more screen time. Yeah, I don't either. Like that's I don't know exactly what you would want to make her a better final boss. Um, In a certain sense, I think that like they're just kind of doomed as far as your expectations on that one. I just don't think that horror game bosses work very well. She's the big bad unit. Well, she's also your primary contender narrative wise to do what you're trying to do. Like she's the other person who's doing that. Um, so like that makes sense from that sort of perspective, because like no one else is really in that sort of vein in that sort of sense. Um, God, I don't love any of these choices. Still have to amplify specialist with this crap. Well, I don't know, because that was the end of Hollow Body, and I really did not care much for that final fight, honestly. Like, I didn't mind Hollow Body, but it definitely felt like a weaker version of something like Signalis. I think that Hollow Body ran into the problem that it was trying to draw from a bit too many different sources that don't necessarily work together, but because like Silent Hill doesn't really work if you're trying to make it be about like a big corporation that's trying to like you know do unethical bio experiments. That doesn't really work with the Silent Hill aesthetic. Um, but by a sort of similar token, like you can't have that spooky, foggy, atmospheric kind of gameplay that's very serious and very tragic and have it be a Resident Evil game. And like I don't think that either of those works if you're trying to like mix that with themes from Signalis very well. So felt like to you. Um, it definitely seemed like she was better. I thought she was way better than that boss. Like she fits in way better and she does way more narratively speaking than that boss did. Because I had no idea who that boss was. Like there's no build up to it whatsoever, and it just sort of showed up. Like there's never any mention of it prior to that. Whereas Falk, I kind of figured was going to be important fairly early on. I wasn't sure in what context. There's no need to have her be a boss. Uh, I mean, if you're going that route, I can sort of see where you're coming from, but at that point in time, what you're sort of looking at is a like likely you're looking at a game with no boss, which I think actually is fine. I think that there's a really strong argument that it is probably better to just skip the friggin' boss fight in a lot of horror games because they're bad. Um, am I gonna lose this to friggin' tarantulas? I probably am. These things really need to hit a bit harder. Okay. Yeah, I feel like you probably would have been actually just happier if they didn't have a boss fight at all in that game, which I can get behind. I don't necessarily think that those games need boss fights. I think we just have to do this. Okay, like that, and then it's probably fine. I'm trying to remember, like, is there any boss fight I actually really enjoy fighting? Well, actually, no. If you're going for a Resident Evil style game, you need boss fights. Signalis is not a Resident Evil style game, though, so, like, you know, skipping that is perfectly fine. No boss would have been better. No, I don't think Adler works as a boss at all. I think that he's worse as a boss than I'd rather the Falk unit than Adler from a narrative perspective. Like Adler being antagonistic and then going around and like trying to do like weird little tricks maybe or something like that, but even there, I don't really feel like that's really something I really care too much about. Um, like in the context of what he did do, like that's one thing, but um, something like that. I do actually kind of think that maybe like the no boss fight thing though wouldn't have gone down well with the majority of people because like a lot of people do expect a big flashy climactic showdown at the end. It's hard to say how much that's true for a game like Signalis though, because like it is a very kind of like non-combat focused game. Like it has combat, but the combat is clearly not like the good part of it. So as to why Adler wouldn't fit, there's no thematic reason for him to like be the final boss. Like there's no thematic resonance between you and him as far as like final boss goes. Like he is trying to stop you, but that's all. Whereas like Falk is the thematic thing. Um, as far as like bosses go, like she's very much a boss on a metaphorical level, defeating basically what is yourself in a sense there to prove that sort of you're worthy to become the one that ends up going in and doing the final act there. Well, shit. I have 0 anti-air, so I lose. I don't think he's powerless, because he does get sort of like manipulated and warped by the same sort of nonsense that's sort of like warping everybody else. So you could like just make him like a super monster in the same sort of way as like Mr. X or something like that, or the Tyrant or whatever. You could make him like super powered and make him really strong and have him kill you. But like obviously that would be a bit of a cop out, but like you could easily do that. Let's not do any of those. Okay. But yeah, I think that just thematically, he doesn't really have an opposition to you in the sense of like he's he's not trying to defeat you on a thematic level. I guess is the big thing for me, or none that I can detect anyway. I guess in the sense that like he's trying to sort of like stop the cycle as far as I can remember. Like his motives are a little bit inscrutable to me most of the time because he's kind of like just sort of doing shit, but like that. But even then, I don't even know if I feel like he was trying to like stop you per se. Like he is trying to foil you to a certain extent, definitely, but like yeah, he's the one that tried to figure. He's figured that out. Yeah, yeah. The thing about him that like I interpreted is that it seemed like he was going around in the sort of sense that like he kind of feels like he's doing the same things that he's doing, not because of that motivation though. It feels to me like he's doing the things he's doing because that's things he's doomed to keep doing. Because he's done those things, same things in every iteration as well. So to me, it doesn't feel like he's trying to stop you per se, but let's do acid attack here. And let's get another one of these. And let's get more of you. Begging us to not cycle again. Yeah, he was, but I get the feeling like he's done that every time. I don't think that this is I don't know to what degree he's got agency is, I guess what I would say. Like in a very sort of specific sense, he actually feels very tragic in that I don't think he has agency. Well, shit. He's the only one explicitly stopping you. He doesn't actually ever do anything that would stop you though. Like most of the time, the things he does ends up like pushing you along further down the storyline in a weird sort of way, right? Like he is trying to like harm you and stuff like that, but none of the stuff that he does actually gets in your way. And he would know this because he knows about the recurrences. That his actions directly or indirectly always end up like actually pushing you forward. Now you could debatably say that like he's has no intention of helping you, but like it is true that without him, the plot doesn't progress past certain points of the game. Basically, let's do this. He's got the most agency of any. I actually don't think he does. Right, like, cause again, like I actually think that he's stuck doing the exact same actions that he's doing every recurrence. Now, I do think that's fair to interpret him as being the person who has agency because he knows what's going on. That's fair. Um, but I think he's just as trapped as everybody else. Oh wow, I won this one. Cool. His actions never matter because he's fighting this reality warping god. Well, I think his actions never matter. Also, not just because he's up against a reality warping god, but like also, I think he's doomed to repeat the exact same actions every time. I don't think he changes his actions. But that's me, like, again, sort of going through the themes that I believe are there. If you don't believe that the theme of eternal recurrence is in the game, like the Nietzschean theme of eternal recurrence is in the game, or that's not important, then, like, obviously you're not going to interpret it that way. But since I think that that's a really important part of it, like the that element of it, as well as like a lot of the other themes from Nietzsche, like the will to might, uh, also feels like it's in there. Like those elements, if they're not something that you view as being super important, like you'll interpret it your way. But if you do think they're in there, then you kind of interpret it my way. Because even in the sense of like the different endings that you can get, there's a very strong interpretation that you could make that your actions don't matter because you'll do them again. And you can sort of argue that one ending like does break the cycle and does end things where you kill Ariadne, but like I actually don't necessarily know that that does actually change things. He's no more lacking. Yeah, yeah, that. Wait, what does this do? Solid shot improves attack range by 60 and interval by 0.7, but decreases splash range by 2. Interesting. I feel like that might be something I don't know about. I should probably actually use these for some damn thing. Okay, do I win off this round? I might. Damn it. Okay. All right. Because smoke bombs on the table, and because I have got also a lot of long range artillery chucking shit across the board here, I have to do this. And let's actually use these guys for something here. Okay, let's get you guys. And let's position these here to counteract any sort of cheese that's going to be incoming from like behind my lines here. Ghost Trick? I'm surprised you hadn't finished that already. That's been out for like a while. I have a friend who really keeps telling me like I should play that game, and I kind of agree with him, but I just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, from my understanding, like a lot of people who like that sort of game had played it a long time ago, but apparently there's some people who missed it. Huh? Is he not doing any bizarre tricks to me here? Well, it doesn't seem like it. All right. Oh, that's the size of the bubble? I thought that was going to be a full-size shield bubble. That sucks. All right. No, yeah, you're right. You were saying that. You know, I was telling you you should play Signalis, which you did do. Uh, that game's been out for a long time. I wonder why, like, yeah, no, I guess that you're the only person I've really heard that's recent. Because my friend that keeps telling me to play Ghost Trick has been telling me for like a decade. So, you know, I can't say that he just started talking about it now or anything like that. Um, okay. What the hell do I think of these damn crabs? They didn't. They don't seem to actually like do much damage wise. Which does remind me, you should also play the some of the Ace Attorney games. They're pretty good. Um, this doesn't really hurt anything that badly. Let's actually compare this to like a tank shot though. Like it's 1.5 seconds and it does 1,300 something. So this is times five, but then it's divided by five. So it's actually like 608 damage per second. So I guess it is twice as much damage as the tanks, but it has no splash. So let's compare it to I guess the marksman. I guess it's actually got very competitive damage to the marksman, so that is actually a pretty hard hitting unit. It doesn't feel like it's a hard hitting unit though. How many do you need before grid integration really takes off there? Okay, so what if you took. So I guess what you would take is you would take grid integration. I did end up looking at 1,000 times resist. I've got it on the wish list that I know when it's on sale, but I don't really 100% know like if I'm going to pick that up or not. Um, but it does look definitely interesting. It's hard to tell what it's actually like gonna play like though from what the screenshots and stuff like that are. That's the only thing that I'm having a little bit of difficulty with. I don't know what the actual like is it just a walkthrough sort of story? Is there like lots of action? I can't really tell what style of game it is, but I'm pretty flexible with what kind of games I actually like, so it doesn't matter too much what it is as far as that goes. But I'm kind of wondering if you can go for a large number of crabs and you would go for like something along the lines of grid integration, emergency arm, and then field maintenance. Because what would happen at the end there is that you'd have a bunch of these guys with the well, I guess maybe you also go accumulator shield, but you go like grid integration so that these guys have like double more than double damage. It's just story, sort of walking. I don't mind that. Yeah, so it's just hard to tell from the like. Is there a ton of text to it? Um, because I do have to keep in mind if I'm playing a game that has tons and tons of text that I do sometimes actually get tired of reading and talking at the same time. But it takes a lot before that happens, so I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this. This is a stupid idea. I need to unlock field maintenance though, so I guess actually we'll wait a little bit. Um, okay, so accumulator shield is actually kind of trash. Although Yeah, like the shield for this is kind of bad. That's the only problem here. I don't know. It's all voiced. Okay, that helps. That helps not having to read out loud every little thing there. Um, but yeah, like I'll wait to see if it goes on sale. If it does, that will definitely help out my decision as far as that goes. I do currently have some games that I want to play though. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing on Monday, but I actually have got games that I've already sort of bought that I want to sort of do some playing on. Um, Space Haven is a game that like has gone from early access, and I've been sort of like not playing it for a while because like it's been in early access for a really long time. But now that it's actually released, I kind of want to play it. I've said sort of mentioned before, like I'm playing a lot less early access games like on stream, just because like I kind of want them to actually finish their damn games so I can play them on release there. But it depends on the game. Some of them are basically complete, and it's kind of like irrelevant as to whether or not it's early access or not. But it's hard to tell until you've actually dug into it. It is on sale. That's weird. Let me double check something. Huh, that is weird. It is in my wish list, and I was not alerted that it went on sale. That's very strange. Why is that? Huh. Okay, I'm kind of wondering why that happened the way it did, but yeah, not much I can do about that. I wonder how many other things that have been on sale that have been on my wish list have gone past it because it didn't inform me. I thought it was, isn't it supposed to like give you a ping? It's like, hey, this game that you wanted is on sale. Like, isn't that supposed to be part of like the wish listing? Well, whatever. That's weird. Okay. Well, I'll definitely consider picking it up right now, but even if I do, I'm probably not going to play it right away because like one of the reasons I've got a relatively clean playlist as far as like I don't have a huge backlog of games that I need to get through is because like even if something interesting comes out, I don't get like ADHD brained and just like jump onto the new thing. No, when I added it, it was definitely not on sale because that's why I added it to my wish list. It was like definitely not when I did that. So yeah, I'm not really sure why that wasn't on there. But yeah, one of the reasons I don't have a huge like games backlog is because I don't get distracted by like new release or anything like that. So even if I like see a new game that's interesting and it comes out and I do want to play it, I'm like I don't go and play it. I just play the game that I've already got on my waiting list. Um, I want to see if tanks are still viable. They're probably not. They keep adding more and more and more things that like destroy sledgehammers super easily, and sledgehammers have like definitely fallen on the wayside. So I also feel like Rhino Specialist is like super dangerous because I'm just gonna get mind controlled. So I'm taking stuff that I know is kind of risky, but I kind of want to try it out. These should actually be things that tanks should do okay into. So like that feels like that should be fine, but like then I'm probably not going to be fine for one reason or another. What are we up against? Aerial Specialist? Okay, let's get ourselves some marksman. Yeah, because if it was on sale, I wouldn't have bothered wish listing it. I would have probably just bought it at the time because I wouldn't have been busy when I was looking at it. Not that I can say that what I'm doing here is really busy per se. I'm not exactly being productive here, but you know. Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely interested in the concept, but I'm kind of like now irritated at Steam because I'm like, what the hell? Because I have got other games that are in my wish list, so I can keep track of like when they go on sale and stuff like that. And I'm wondering, it's like, have I missed sales for these? Like, were these all on Steam Summer Sale? Did I like miss out? Fortunately, I'm basically immune to FOMO, so I don't really care that much. But now I am wondering, is there a super secret special bell icon that I have to hit that they've added to their like wish list process that I need to do so that I can get access to that as well? Okay, the rate at which my tanks are chewing through these goddamned like Mustangs is actually offensively bad. We are still going to win this one, but like, what the hell? I don't actually understand the like bell icon thing for YouTube either, though. It's just like, okay, so you've like subscribed, so you definitely are interested in seeing the content that is being produced by these people. But we're just gonna add another button that you have to hit that shows that you're definitely, absolutely, you definitely want to see what they're producing. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. And then they're like, okay, so we've added the bell icon. Like, this is what I foresee happening. It's gonna be like you need to like subscribe, and then you need to hit the bell, and then they're gonna add some other thing that's after that, and the cycle continues. They're just gonna keep adding new things until like you're only alerted to a video being made if you hit like 19 different buttons or something like that. It's gonna be awful. Tell our AI voice assistant that you actually want to see content from this channel. Are you sure you want to see content from this channel? We don't think that you actually want to. You'll have to like confirm here by talking to like our Google whatever the hell thing. YouTube's almost entirely divorced from the subscribe slash bill as far as serving content goes. Well, what the hell? What's it even for then? Oops. Okay, I'm gonna get absolutely just tons of resources wasted on this side here, and I'm gonna probably be fine everywhere else, but like still. I am feeling pretty future-proofed here against some stuff, but yeah, that was a pretty bad round. All right, so what is it that you have to do now? You have to like specifically write an email to the content creator and say, "Hey, I like your videos. Please make it so that I get sent an email confirmation whenever you release something." Um, oh, that's probably Twitter. You probably have to subscribe to them on Twitter, and it automatically alerts you via tweet that they've produced something. God, that's awful. I hate it. That's literally, if that's what it is, and it probably is. That's literally the worst thing I've ever heard of. All right, whatever. What was I doing? Okay. What if I made him less effective at shooting stuff because he's busy shooting at missiles for some damn reason? It's mostly for the channel itself. Yeah, fair enough, I guess. I still think that like there should be a definitive and effective and easy way to just say, "Hey, I like this content. Alert me when this content is there." It's less than 10%. That's really funny. Yeah, they need to do something where like you hit the button and it tells you that there's a video from the person, because like that's what people are hitting those for. The hell? I heard the airdrop like button. Was that just for the shield? Did they add that for that now? That's actually very funny. I think I'm getting stream sniped, but you know what? That's fine. Like I said, the point of this was to make it so that all his shit stops shooting at my actual units and instead is busy shooting at missiles. Because as long as they're busy shooting at missiles and shit, they're not shooting at my units, which means that my units get to deal damage to them. In the end, this actually just benefits me. Mind you, we still lost the round, but you know, whatever. Oh, and now my game is frozen. Nope, there we go. Okay. Gonna go with efficient tech research. I just need to make sure I'm getting 2 tech upgrades at the very least. Gonna have you guys back here, and we're gonna have you like that. Okay, I kind of want to give you guys a little bit more of something. Let's start off with a range bonus on them, and then we're going to go ahead and get some more crawlers. Then we're going to go ahead and get this. Build recovery to get rid of this, and then we'll do these guys. I guess that does beg the question, though. Did you look up the other endings for Signalis, or did you just like sort of get the one that you got and then not even sort of look at the other ones? Because, well, I don't necessarily think you need to see what the other endings are to play the game or anything like that. I do think that that might change your opinion about things a little bit, potentially. But probably not. I think that it's unlikely that would change anything too much. Well, shit. We can kill everything except the Raven. Alright, what do we want to have that can kill a Raiden? That would still be useful for, like, everything else that we're doing here. Well, our own Raiden. That would be one of the potential options. Melting points? I don't actually know how hard it is, per se, to get the correct ending, because the things that you do to get it are kind of, like, weird, but, yeah, I understand that, that would be surprising, yeah. Usually in those kinds of games, it takes a couple tries to get what is canonically considered the right ending. I noticed that you use the word right ending instead of the good ending, because that is definitely how to perceive that. That is definitely how I would also sort of interpret that. Not that the other ending's good per se either, yeah. I do like the secret ending in a certain sense, though. There's literally no way in hell I would ever be able to get it, though. Not without looking up how to do it. Uh, it's not arbitrary how the different endings are chosen. I actually do think that the way that they get through the different endings does make sense. But it does sort of like actively punish you for being good at the game to a certain extent, which is really funny to me. Okay. Not a fan of that, but it doesn't really impact anything. Well, I don't think it was actually arbitrary. I think that it was probably chosen for specific thematic reasons. But it is hard to say exactly if that's actually true or not. But it felt to me like they were sort of saying that you're more willing to go through like sort of struggle in a certain sense. There is, I think, what it's about there. You know, it's about how willing are you to suffer through the journey, rather than how willing are you to like complete the journey, kind of thing. Oh, that guy's locked there. Okay, well. It's not the sort of thing that you would interpret. Oh, do you mean actually the secret ending, like being impossible unless you know about it? Yeah, that kind of can be irritating, I guess, but, you know, it's fine. Secret endings aren't really supposed to be something that they assume that you'll see regardless, so, like, you know, whether or not they consider it accessible is kind of a side question. Does this thing not have long range? They haven't gotten long range enhancement on that yet. I actually can't remember which of the two endings I got, honestly. I'd have to double check. I don't think I actually tried to save Issa. I just tried to live through that. Not very well, mind you, but you know. Well, alright, we're starting to get back into there. I tried to use Zero Ammo, which is probably the sillier of the two, honestly. Let's be real here. Let's be fair, you know. Between the two of us who was being a little bit of a silly goober on that fight, it's probably me. But yeah, I don't resent that. It's fine. I kind of want to get launcher overload. The problem is the range reduction would actually really screw me over here. I'm just gonna get that maybe. Drop that there. You gave up on the zero ammo pretty quickly. Beat it with one shot. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh well. I really feel like I need to get the extra attacks, like the extra attack speed on my tanks. And I need to get tanks onto the other side here. Oh. I mean, I still don't think it's dumb, but yeah, I can see where you're coming from there. All right, time to drop a nuke. Is this a good idea? Probably not. It's rarely a good idea to use this. Okay, we have to do some really stupid stuff this round that I'm not super happy with, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, I actually have to double check what I got for my ending. Do you remember what I got for my ending? They didn't drop a shield. They're just gonna get nuked. Okay. That might win it for me. Yeah, I feel like I got the other ending. I don't think I got the promise ending. I'm pretty sure I got the other one. Boop. Okay, we're hoping for enough here that I can get through this whole fight without having to do another one after this. Like, I hope that I can win off this. Nope. Gonna be a little bit short. Shit. You haven't seen what I did either? Damn, I can't remember. It's been a long time, and I've seen all the different endings, so I don't remember which one is the one I got. Okay, what do I want to do here? Alright, what I want to do here is get a couple of tanks. And what we want to do here is give these guys the armor-piercing bullets. And then we go for these. Yeah, my understanding, my recollection is I got the other ending. I didn't get the same one that you did. Yeah, to me, what it's indicating to me is like a willingness to sort of like act recklessly and like sacrifice everything to get to her, as opposed to trying to like play it smart and play it sane and stuff like that. I think that's sort of the difference between the two different endings. I think that's why in one you're able to fulfill a promise, and the other one you can't. In one of them, you care about like life too much, and then the other one you don't. Yeah, we'll win this one. Very good. They took like no upgrades, and they did not use the aerial specialist like at all. It was a really weird match. Um, I can understand you not liking the degree of obfuscation to get the different endings, and that's probably fair. To me, that feels really normal. Because I've played like a lot of like really old school horror games. So if you played, for example, the original Clock Tower, the way that you get the different endings is so absurd that like literally no one is going to be like, oh yeah, these make sense. So to me that just feels natural, but I can definitely understand why that would feel weird to you. Yeah. um and I do think that like maybe it is actually better to have more clear sort of like ways to different endings, and their endings are more clear than those older games, which is insane. But to another sort of extent there, I kind of don't think that you're supposed to be worried about which of the two endings that you actually get, because I don't actually think of it in terms of like the good ending or the bad ending. I don't even necessarily think that I agree with the concept that the promise ending is the better ending between the two of them. Um, so in that sort of context, I think that you're supposed to just get the ending that is thematically resonant for the way that you're playing the game, which I think makes for it fits with the way that I play games, because I don't really care which ending I get in games necessarily. I just take whichever one I get, and that's the natural like end point for the way that I play the game is how I view it. So that works out really well for like the way I play those kinds of games. But if you're deliberately aiming to have a specific kind of experience and you're not really thinking about like the journey to get there, as being a natural sort of way to get there, I can sort of see why that would be the case. But if you sort of thought about it another way, like if you were playing Signalis and that was the only ending, it didn't have multiple endings, like would that sort of ruin that experience for you? I don't think it would personally. Um, so in that sort of sense, I don't really mind it. Okay, we can afford to get the stupid thing now. I feel like you can draw a line to get to the ending that you got. It is obscured, but once you do know why it's sort of there, I feel like it makes a lot more sense. Or it's a lot easier to sort of understand that. Okay, do I think that this is a smart idea? No. Do I think this is a workable idea? No. But without looking it up, you would never have understood what you did to get it. I mean that's probably yeah. That's a kind of well, I don't mind that either. Like I don't think that that's because again, I don't think that they're aiming for like a mechanical style of like alternate endings like because what I think you're looking for is a very binary like I made these choices and they led directly to what's going on, whereas what they're going for is a very thematic sort of thing. They're going for a sort of very vibes based ending system where it's like I care about life, therefore I didn't get the one where I murder my loved one. um, so I think those are like different ways of sort of trying to accomplish it, and theirs is very like abstracted and very like different from what you would normally see. So I can understand like wanting it to be more clear and making it so it's easier to sort of like do one thing and get the result that you want, but I don't think that's necessarily better when it's like that. Like Bloodborne kind of has the sort of thing that we want where it's like you can definitely tell what's going to happen based on the choices that you made, the actions that you took. Like they kind of make sense from a just a logical linear perspective, but there's not really much theme going on behind it. Like the thing about Signalis is I think it's more about metaphor than it is about like plot, and I think the endings sort of continue to reflect that idea. All right, how do I do this combination so that it might work? Eh, I'll try training specialist here. The thing is, I don't actually know if I think that this is likely to work. Well, no, it does take into account the actual journey. That's the thing. Okay, so apparently these stupid crab things are actually pretty good at killing single target entity type things. The problem is I have to put them in a placement that doesn't make a lot of sense during the start here. And the flame tanks are going to be completely bloody useless here, so... Trying to force a unit through again, that never ends well. I think the thing that like you're probably looking at is you want it to be about like deliberate choices that you made. Like I chose this on the dialogue box, and as a result, I got that result, so on and so forth. Which they don't really do that. They're doing something different than that. How do you get two of those? Quick supply specialist. Oh, that's why. Okay, well I'm screwed. I probably would have been anyway, but like yeah, no, we were pretty screwed here. All right, what do I need to claw back in here? Player who struggles is not differentiated in any way from a player who is thorough or greedy. Um, I guess so. I don't necessarily think that that's usually going to be the case, though. I don't think that that's necessarily going to be the case there. Um, I'd have to double check like what all the exact criteria were, but I think there were some that you don't meet if you're just having a hard time. But that could be true. You could be right. What do I think is going to help me in this situation? I don't think I've actually got much that I can get that could help me in this situation, really. Crap. Yeah, I don't honestly remember the exact criteria for the different endings super well, in all honesty. I just remember that you get like the one if you're sort of like doing a lot more aggression, I guess, is how I would describe it. But okay, I'm going to lose on this flank. That's fine. My opponent is going to maintain tempo throughout this entire game, and I'm not going to really be able to do much about it. Because like I'm already placing stuff down to counter counter a bunch of his stuff, and I'm not going to be able to. Killed a lot more enemies than I did, but destroyed a lot less. Yeah, probably. I didn't kill very many enemies. But that's again because like I was playing very like conservatively. I was just trying to get around enemies, and I was trying to like deliberately avoid violence. Which again, like I think that does sort of actually fit in that theme that I was sort of talking about. Because again, I think it's more about like, do you care about life, not about, you know, are you having a hard time or not, right? I probably should have just gotten one of these guys, but I probably do need to do this. Okay, and then yeah, let's not put that down on anything yet. All right. And then we'll do this. Time plays, NPCs talk to, deaths, time spent at low health, kills, time spent healing, time spent in memories. If I recall correctly, like you wanted to have for your ending, you're supposed to have high time played, if I recall correctly, or low time played. I think you're supposed to have low NPCs talk to. You're supposed to have high deaths. You're supposed to have high time at low health, high kills, low time spent healing, and high time spent in memories. Were you supposed to have high time in memories or low time in memories? Yeah, I'm getting demolished here. Okay, let's get supply enhancement. I'm gonna go ahead and get emergency armor here. It's low time in memories. That one feels a bit weird to me, but I can kind of understand that. You're trying to push forward, you're not trying to reminisce. I spent, like, I think quite a lot of time in memory. I think I spent actually a ridiculous amount of time in memories. Yeah, so that tracks. But yeah, like I said, I feel like they're trying to go for a like you're do you value life or do you not value life kind of question. There is sort of what it's about. Okay, I have to do a mass recruits. Go ahead and get another one of these. I don't think I can use any of those upgrades here. Let's take counterfire on these guys. You actually tied. That's interesting. Okay, so that ability just flat out doesn't work here because, like, I'm getting one shot by the stuff that's shooting at me, so, like, the emergency armor isn't actually activating. That's actually really funny. I didn't actually check close enough to know how close I was to either ending, honestly. But given what you're describing, the criteria are, I'm 99% sure that I must have gotten the other one. Let's get field maintenance on these guys now. Just orbital jav this guy, I guess. It wouldn't surprise me at all if I got the other one. Nope, still getting one shot. Damn. Nope, there we go. Yeah, I don't think this combination actually works very well. I would have liked it if they had a little bit more durability for that type of combination. I don't think that works very well with them. Okay, I think that's basically me dead. Yep. Alright, so we tried out a weird thing with those crabs, so I didn't get really much of a chance to go through there. You'll find out. Well, I kind of want to check as well, because I'm like 99% sure that I probably got the other ending compared to you, but I honestly didn't mind that that's the ending that I got. I feel like it's appropriate for what was the story that I was getting. And like I said, I don't actually necessarily feel like it's a worse ending. That I mega distract. No, I've sort of mentioned this as a flaw of this game or a couple times before, but there are some starts where like they start off with a certain board state and then I start off with a certain board state, and it's like basically irrecoverable. Like I just don't have the specific units that are gonna ever let me like catch up in tempo, because I need like multiple different rounds before I can catch up to them, and by the time I've caught up to where they were at the start of the game, they've already like moved past that. So I felt like that was one of those rounds where that was happening, and that can be really really rough. I don't like any of these starts. These are all really bad. All right, I'll go training specialist again. Get the same sort of crap that I had last time and be in a bad spot again. This is actually a much better like starting board state, because like we actually have got like better counters to what we're seeing here. I don't love the idea of getting chaff into this. Like that's kind of weird, but other than that, you know, I kind of don't want to get chaff here. They're gonna get some like hard kill stuff though, so I do need to get something. So this is not a board state where it's completely unrecoverable for my opponent, but it would be if instead of having these tarantulas, I had the I can't remember the name of the heavy tanks that I was just fighting against. Because these things can be sort of countered by like some of the stuff that exists in this, but oops, no, it doesn't matter. Just want to get the recharge on that. I don't know why he deployed all of his light units in front of the two things that stop his light units from working. And then also, like, I just need to have, like, one little guy here, and I kind of... Alright, well, whatever, it's fine. These crabs are finally getting to, like, really show their stuff here. This is, like, the perfect fight for them. Okay, so they've got the Fire Badger Specialist, which, like, the fact that they started Fire Badgers into Fire Badger Specialist is, like, kind of gross. Like, that's the worst possible reality for them. So that's fun. I'm going to go ahead and grab some sledgehammers here. Now, what he absolutely has to do is he has to, like, get a couple saber tooths and place them down so that he can get through my tarantulas. Like, that's basically what he has to do here. It feels like. But he could try to do something else. In terms of, like, what I do to counter that, it's kind of like a couple different options. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to get scorpions, and I'm not going to bother actually getting them yet. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and get 2 more crabs, and then I'm going to get an upgrade on them. The thing is about the crabs, I don't actually think that they're a bad or like a hyper gimmicky unit. Actually, instead of emergency armor, I'm going to get these. But I think they run into the problem that, like, they're a strange unit, and that definitely hurts their ability to kind of function. Okay, they came in at a good spot, actually. My opponent has chosen weird things here. Okay, so my opponent is like kind of pretty close to what I was talking about earlier. I think he's virtually hinging on that sort of unrecoverable field state, and I think that's because he chose to not get Sabertooths there. That would have actually really, really helped him. Do I want an amp core? I could get an amp core. Let's throw everything onto this one asshole over here. That does mean I am out of money, but that's fine. It's a bit not fine because I'm only putting down 1 unit this turn, which really sucks, but... I guess we just do this. At a certain point, you can get to the point where you've got a tarantula that's so beefy that they can kind of just do gross things. They can become incredibly difficult. Like, you can see him chopping through, like, these fire badgers. And fire badgers are not supposed to be something you can kill with a tarantula. And it's, like, very different on the side that doesn't have the hyper upgraded one there. Okay. He's going for that combination of, like, Fire Badger and, like, Metal Ball. Like, Metal Ball Tarantula is good, but, like, it's not really going to win him this game here. Let's go with the Super Supply Enhancement. That's going to be quite nice. And then... Do I have... Yeah, okay. I do kind of want to get a little bit more, like, chaff clear on this side as well, to a certain degree, but what I actually really want to get is, like, a scorpion, but for now, let's go ahead and get another tarantula. And then we'll also get this. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the emergency armor. Okay. And then we'll also take up arc lights. If I need to actually take out more chaff type stuff, then I'm going to probably get arc lights. This thing is actually pretty bad against even crawlers. It's kind of surprising. He'll still kill, like, an entire stack of them, but, like, that's about it. Look at how little damage this thing's taking. Look how fast he's killing steel balls. Okay, so they'll get to here first. It's taking forever because we're really slow, but... Yeah. Okay. Well, we gotta go with the advanced offensive tactics. We can go ahead and get intensive training down on this thing. I need to get the extended range on those guys for them to really like kick that into high gear, basically. Otherwise, they're going to be kind of mediocre. Um, Field maintenance or armor piercing bolts would actually be kind of good on these guys, but I don't really want to actually get that right now. I'm kind of wondering if I could go for a kill turn here, which is weird because it's like pretty early into the game. But I think we can actually try to go for a kill turn. I think we aim it at this unit here. Oh, they're actually going to try and counter it, but he positioned it poorly. He's going to kill off this guy, but oh, the Mega Reactive Armor actually saved him. So that actually did work out well there. Oh, shit. The field repair is actually working for him here. Usually they don't. Scorpions yet again being the deciding factor. They're such an overtuned unit for killing out like mid-tier tough units on the ground. Like there's a very large swath of ships or not ships, robots that are just like nullified by their existence in a way that I think is actually kind of unhealthy for the game. It's kind of always been like that since they got released. I don't know why they have always kept them in the sort of state that they're in. Like it just does too much damage to these kinds of units here to be really fair, in my opinion. Um, okay. What do I want to do for the last one here? I actually want to take out the one that's at the end here. Let's just drop 3. Does that kill? Nope. They've actually gone for like more steel balls, it looks like, which to me is weird. Like they're not working here, and they're not working by like quite a bit. These things, on the other hand, will actually like work quite a bit for him. This is how we're going to like lean into it. I think that I'm gonna, yeah, I went off that. Yeah, by a huge amount. I didn't think that the Overlord was going to take out those two Raidens that easily, but like the difference in damage between the two is actually a lot more than I thought it was. All right, well, interesting. Like I said, I felt like after turn 3 there, he was in an unrecoverable board state, and I think that's kind of a thing about this game is that it can happen. They've done a lot to try and make it so that you can't end up in an unrecoverable board state, like you just don't have any way back into the game, which happens sometimes, but sometimes that just happens. You end up in a combination where it's like you literally have a state where you cannot get back into the game, no matter what you do, because your opponent can sort of like predict what you're going to want to get and then like counter that thing, and then you get slapped. So it doesn't really matter what you do at that point. In any event, though, I'm just gonna double check something. There was a friend of mine in town, and we were considering going out for dinner, and I'm not sure where we're sitting as far as that goes. But we may actually be doing something later today. Um, Yeah, so it looks like I'm gonna be out later, and that's probably something I want to get ready for, but I think I've got time for another match if I'm looking at my time correctly here. I should probably actually look at a map is also what I should do, because I don't know how long it is going to be till I get to the place where I'm supposed to go, but, you know, whatever. It's fine. I'm actually generally not a very flaky member of my friends group, so I generally reliably get to the place I'm supposed to on time when we're doing whatever. Oh, I've been looking at Slay the Spire 2 for a while. Same with Monster Train 2. I just haven't gotten around to them. Yeah. They're in the same sort of boat of like I'll look at them and I'll get to them when they're on like a really big sale, but like especially Slay the Spire 2 is not like super exciting to me. Um, it looks like it's a good game though, so it looks like it'd be fun to play, but I'm not like looking at that and being like, oh yeah, this is going to be the really good experience. Mostly because again, I didn't really think that Slay the Spire 1 was all that good. Um, where well, no, I thought that was good in context because like it spawned like a trillion other games that copied its formula basically exactly. Um, and the only reason I thought that I wasn't really like recommend it has a I have no idea how that actually works. Like I've heard that it has multiplayer and I had no idea how that actually works. Um, but yeah, like the way that I sort of like looked at Slay the Spire was like it doesn't really hold up to me, but at the same time, that's probably because like all the other games that came out after it got to iterate on the formula. So it's not really fair for me to say that's not good because it probably is. Oh, this is gonna suck. Okay, Stellar, very fun to coordinate. Coordinate. That's what you have to do. Oh God, I'm gonna not do well in that. Let's see here. We got Hounds and we got Steel Ball. So Steel Ball versus Elite is kind of an interesting matchup potentially. Hound as well into Elite is also kind of interesting. I think I could probably go for Marksman here. Because if he goes for things that are good against Marksman, then the Fangs and Steel Ball probably are enough for that. The problem is like Steel Ball and the combination of Steel Ball and Mustang or Fangs is not my favorite. I prefer like Steel Ball Mustang or Steel Ball Crawler. Well, you never start off with Steel Ball Mustang, but you know what I mean. Kind of want them like this because we're not strictly using these guys for damage. And I think we're probably going to lose the first 2 rounds or so here. I have Vuln for this turn. I can block for us for this turn. I can give someone 2 energy. Do you both like get to freely choose which of your like what are they called, commanders, whatever they are, like characters, like, or do they have restrictions on what you can pick? Like you're not allowed to have overlap or something like that. Okay, this should be something we can deal with by like turn 3, I think. Depending on how the board state goes, like this is not unrecoverable, but how the next couple of turns goes could really indicate a lot. Yeah, you can do whatever. Okay, good. I was kind of worried that they would make it so that you're limited to like one of each commander type or whatever they're called. Okay, we are going to lose this by quite a bit. That's fine, though. Kind of do that. Usually play random. You accidentally roll 4 times region one time. That's kind of funny. Let's see here. What do I want? Probably a Sabertooth. So Sabertooth doesn't actually do well by default into this composition, but you can actually make it do well into this composition really easily. We're going to want Arclights. I haven't tried out that new tech on Arclights either. But yeah, what we want to do on these guys is we eventually want to get the secondary armaments on them. And I can actually do that this turn. So we can go ahead like this and then secondary armaments that guy. Oh no, wait, never mind. That's 100. I'm thinking, yeah, I thought I had 330. Oh, whatever, it's fine. Do that. Okay, so we'll like I said, probably lose this turn as well. Yeah, my opponent went Sabretooth and Crawlers over there. That's probably not enough to stop all this. Or no, those are Fangs. That might actually stop this, because they'll get us at the middle here. The Crawlers would definitely not be good here, because they would just get mulched by that. And I can guarantee you, if I was playing Slay the Spire alongside you, you would be very disappointed in my performance, because I'm not very good at Slay the Spire. Assuming they're the same, I don't really know. You know, I thought that red was like top performing unit, but they've got 3 of those, and I can't imagine they had 3 #1 performing units. So I think that the aura must mean that they were units that survived until the end of the last match, is what I'm guessing. Really some fun multiplayer synergies too. Yeah, that's kind of what. Oh, are there multiplayer only cards? That's interesting. But yeah, I kind of figured that there would be some interesting synergies going along in there. Yeah, our opponent's got a lot of chaff here. Okay, I think we lose one more, and then I think we're winning after that. We might even actually win this round. Yeah, we win this round. That was faster than I thought it was going to be. I thought he was going to have like a couple more where I was struggling. Lower difficulties are more forgiving, but I don't play the lower difficulties. Same with the Monster Train. I'm like terrible at that game, and I'm playing on like whatever it is, 20. I don't know if I care about any of these. I'll probably take the advanced power system though. Okay. So, do I need this desperately enough that I take this now? The answer is no, because I have to get 2 units. Well, I could get 2 cheap units. But if I've only got 1 Sabretooth, it really doesn't matter. Okay, I might want Fire Badgers, actually, because like the amount of chaff that I'm clearing through is like actually kind of extreme. Although I probably should actually get more chaff of my own to counter some of this. Let's get... Yeah, I don't know. I think we get more of these guys. I kind of want to get the Shockwave ability here. But we'll hold off on that for a turn. And then... I'm just going to get this, and then save 100. You learned the game. You were overestimating me, given how my performance in Slay the Spire 2 1 went. Okay, what do I do about the fire rockets? Because they're actually like kind of destroying me here. Like that's a really good tech that my opponent got there. Do I have to go for anti... I think I actually just go for anti those things, and then I'll be fine. I'm gonna get crawlers though. Let's take that. This is the problem with paying the tax of being on the side that I'm on here. Okay, so I kind of have to get missile interceptors, which does suck, but whatever. And then we just get one of these. Wish I could get 2, but whatever. Okay, so what I want to do is actually cause him to shoot at this unit with like as many of these guys as possible, especially on this right side where I've got a little bit less anti-missile coverage. So we're just going to put this like here. Well, that's not good. Problem is I'm paying 150 just to lure like missiles, which is not great. Like you want to be spending way less than that for that kind of tech. It's got reinforced 2 on that. Yeah, see, so we just managed to block that, and then we managed to like take out all those missiles over here. I thought that these things killed the hounds way faster, but apparently they don't, so I should probably have remembered that. They're going cost control, yeah, they're just going to out-tempo me. Should pay more attention to what they had. There's like a big discrepancy between elite and cost control, where like cost control can end up in this situation where they're like absolutely annihilating you if you're special elite. And it's mostly down to the fact that like if you're playing elite, then like you just have way less stuff. But you know, that is how that goes. I definitely feel like Fire Badgers is correct here though at this point. I might have to start clearing flame, which I don't love having to do, potentially, but we may have to do it. And then we're just going to go extended range on these guys. Kind of just do that. Might as well do actually this. I don't know if that's the right place to put that. You know, see, they're capable of getting all these fortresses and stuff like that. I can't afford to like counter them. Because like all my countering is cost like way more than sort of normal. So I'm sort of forced to play around with like these sort of cheaper units to try and get like similar results. Like his guys are nerfed, like they are weaker than normal. But they're not weaker than normal by enough to like make it so I can easily like counteract the fact that he's got way stronger stuff than I do. I feel like the mismatch between like cost control and ooh, that helps a lot. Cost control and elite is that like elite just gets out tempoed really badly, so they have to have a huge lead early, and I did not have that. I'm gonna go with the range enhancement. I'm gonna go with the acid attack. I kind of have to get both of those, given the circumstances, and then we're just gonna get 2 units of crawlers. Gonna put them back here. This is potentially a good turnaround turn. Like the stuff that I'm getting off of this is like actually really, really strong here. And we still have the anti-missile. Has he got a launcher overload? Well, that's crazy. Alright. I definitely need to draw more chaff here, though. Okay, I'm not sure what we're drawing backwards. I feel like it's going to be these guys. It might be these guys as well. It might be these guys. Ooh, that's going to take this, I think. I wish it would still go here. Oh, yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah, so this should actually go over there. Okay, now we got this guy sitting in top of the acid. That's going to help us a ton in killing him. About to explode in a second. Yeah, so they are going to win this one still, but how are we going to live, though? We might not live. You love fortresses? Yeah, they're really good. There's no way in hell I can afford fortresses in this matchup, though. I'm going to go ahead and skip. He's probably going to be able to drop smoke on me, but such is life. It seems like with launcher overload, these guys are capable of surviving for quite a while, so I'm just going to not worry about that too much. Eh. Actually, let's undo that one. I kind of have to have something that can aim upwards now all of a sudden, because like my opponent took a thing that flies. So like my opponent has taken a single thing that can aim up, that I have to aim up at. And I'm probably actually going to have to do something to get like another one. Oops, no, we're going to undo that. I can't actually get it. Okay. He's probably just going to get more of those little crawlers across the ground there. Is that EMP? Yeah, that's EMP. Still got our acid down, don't really care. I think he's just running his own dudes all across his own fire. Unfortunately, acid doesn't do extra damage against shields or anything like that, so like we're kind of screwed here. Not being able to punch through them. Yep. Yeah, that was fair enough. I need to actually figure out what I'm supposed to do for that particular matchup, because like that specific matchup is actually really weird for me. Playing elite, like everything being more expensive versus a guy that's got like an extra 200 every single turn, it's kind of like hard because they can afford to get stuff like a melting point or whatever like that on like turn 3. Um, Whereas like I'm stuck on turn 3 getting like I can just barely afford 2 squads of like sledgehammers. So there's a huge mismatch because like they're level 2 sledgehammers, but the value of that is like, or I could talk about like level 2 saber tooths. Like 2 level 2 saber tooths versus a melting point is very very different value from one another. Like a level 1 melting point is still probably better than 2 level 2 saber tooths. Like you could get the extra range on these guys, and they would have the ability to kill the melting point. But like, uh, at the end of the day, the melting point, if it's got even just a little bit, is capable of putting the damage out to kill like both the saber tooths. So, and it's a little bit harder for the saber tooth to do the other way around, I find. But especially because the person putting down the melting points can do that, and they'll have more chaff than me. So I find that like a really really difficult mismatch that I kind of wonder what I'm supposed to do for that one. I've never actually had a good time with that matchup though, so it's like one of the ones that I know is really really hard. But I also know that people win it, so it's not like it's impossible for me to be able to beat that. Do I have to leave soon? Um, shit. Okay, you know what? No, we're playing another game. Looks like. I didn't even notice I hit the start match button. What the hell? All right. Yeah, I haven't played this game in like a ton of time, but like that goes back for like ages. I'm bad at playing elite into that particular like combination. Like cost control specialist, I think is a good counter against elite. Not that you can choose to be in that scenario there. I'm gonna choose aero specialist. I haven't used enough aero units again. Okay, what are we against? We're up against these Void Eyes and Tarantula combination. Like, that feels like it still feels like it's a really bad unit, the Void Eyes. I haven't really figured out a good niche for them. And I haven't seen anyone else really using them either. Like, they've got some really interesting sacrificial abilities that you can use, but, like, you could also just get a unit that does the same sort of things without sacrificing themselves, so you get the effect without dying. Feels like that would be the better choice if you had to choose between the two. I never really tell if I've got these symmetrical, and I honestly don't need to actually have them be symmetrical. It's completely not even relevant to try. My opponent has no chaff units. He's just gone for 100% beef. And he's kind of put it so that, like, all my turrets are firing at him. Okay, so he's gonna win this one, but it's pretty damn close. Yeah, he's gone 100% all in on that stuff. We could try to go Hero Arclights, but I don't think that goes well into what he's got here. I think we just go for Skip. And then I go for the... Well, I kind of go for the Phoenixes here, right? I need more of these guys. I need more crawlers pretty badly, but it's kind of fine. I'm going to drop one of these over here, which might seem random, but might come in handy later. It'll make it so that he'll look there and be like, oh, he's got one of those there. I'm not going to bother putting any units over there, is the hope. He's gone for even more Horde Clear stuff, which is interesting. Yeah, so that squished him pretty badly. He's gone for the Smart Arclights. He's going for Hero Arclights. Rhino Assault? That would be interesting. I'm going to take intensive training here. Did I get... Yeah, I've got Carry Phoenixes on the table. Okay, so I don't want those. Let's just do this for now. Let's do that, and let's do this. So in this particular case, Subterranean might actually be good. I should probably actually have some forward crawlers, just so that these guys aren't getting owned quite so quickly. I would love to get a play where Scorching Charge actually works, but it's like such a bad ability. Because it activates and they immediately die before they've even managed to get like forward, so it doesn't actually work. Yeah, that's so funny. Okay, a Raiden would be potentially good. A Fortress would be really interesting. I'm gonna get the Fortress, actually. So we can use the Fortress here with the anti-air barrage and scare off all of these random things here. We have him like over here. We'll give him the anti-air barrage. Go ahead and unlock those, more for the hell of it than anything. We'll go ahead and pick up... Well, I don't actually care about that right now. Let's just get another one of these guys. And then one of these guys. And like I said, this one's just going to be like up here to start like taking up shots like right away off of the hounds. Surprised they haven't gone for anti-air specialization yet. It's got 2 rhinos. That's interesting. I wonder what he's planning with those. Because these things like kind of need upgrades. It looks like he might be trying for Final Blitz. He's gone for more wasps. And a bomb here, that's fine. That split on those guys, that's so good. He's actually going to win this one. Yep. That was pretty close, but... Okay. There's Ion Blast. I'm not going to bother with that. I think we're going to take this. I'm going to actually add that to this guy, and then we're going to upgrade him. So that kind of like automatically saves us a little bit of money. Then we can go ahead and get Barrier Dome. Nah, it's too expensive right now. I think I wait a little bit before I get that. Okay, so I think I have to do Mustangs, which I don't really want here, but... I need to get the bonus attack thing as well, kind of. I actually am going to skip this so I can get that instead. And I do want to get the anti-air tech on the Mustangs, because like I want them prioritizing swapping their shots over. That way they're not going to be shooting at these guys at all. They'll switch targets upwards. The rhinos haven't been upgraded. That's interesting. But yeah, the barrier here I think would actually be pretty strong in this situation. Oh, there's more of these guys. That's going to get shredded down pretty quickly. If he puts one there, it just instantly gets blown up by the bomb, so I've got like a free turn if I keep checking where those are. He's going for a lot of wasps. See, like here, I'm sort of like moving my attacks over towards this thing here. And it's costing me a bunch of damage, basically. These things are actually surprisingly tanky. Nice, okay. I think 3 Fangs here is actually pretty good. I think the Wraith is pretty good. I think out of the options there, I'm going to go with the Wraith. Because it kind of does well into everything that's over here. Go ahead and do Degeneration Beam later, potentially. But for now, this is fine. Can go with the aerial specialization on them so that their attacks automatically get pulled upwards. Okay, so it's 750, so I could get the shield here. But I can get one more unit is the thing, and I kind of think that another unit's better. So we're going to go ahead and promote this guy, and then I'm going to get another fortress. Still got $100 they could have spent, but whatever. I can't actually tell what the shielded unit was. I think it might be his fangs. Either way, I need, like, way more chaff clear. Yeah, it's the fangs. Okay. What I can do here is actually get a... like, another one of these things with the degeneration beam that would actually, like, clear out a lot of what he's got here. Oh, game freezing. Alright. Okay. Cheaper upgrades on him. He's always worthwhile upgrading. I'm gonna grab that, but what we probably want is some actual, like, on-the-ground permanent fire. But I'm not going to worry about that right yet. I'm going to upgrade these two. And I'm going to go ahead and do what I said I was going to do. I'm going to get this thing, and I'm going to give it degeneration beams. Looks like he moved all those guys away, so that's kind of not surprising. Okay, we've got exactly 700 again. Damn it. Why is it always 700? Exactly. What I may actually want to do here... get that resupply, and then we're just going to go that. Actually, no, let's go back here. Let's get another Mustang. And we'll put these guys back here. Okay, so that's gonna actually burn down, like, a crap ton of, like, his stuff, isn't it? I feel like he just, you know, ioned himself, didn't he? Okay, I do actually have to get, like, flamers here. He's just too beefy with all those, like, little guys with shields. And they are tough, but, like, yeah, they're tougher than I thought they were going to be. Sure. A nuke fight should be to my advantage, honestly. Yes, he's dropping his here, but should have pushed this a little bit further forward, I think. If I survive this, I need to, like, add more, like, Vulcans. I need to have, like, one on each quarter of this. Okay, that is causing some issues. Yeah, I think we're gonna win this. Too much beef for him to chew through there. Okay, given what's on the field, I think that we get Phantom Rays potentially. He's gonna get melting points. Just do that to counter that. And what we're going to do is actually give ours this thing. What could I do if I had 200 more? I could get a bunch of unit upgrades, but I don't know if I care enough about the unit upgrades right now. I hope that we can win off this is basically what we're doing here. He's got a bunch of melting points. All his chaff piles into the fire and immediately gets roasted. That's excellent. My chaff moves in around the flanks and doesn't get roasted. Okay, that's superb. Okay, we win that one. All right. Well, that worked out okay. But yeah, that's going to probably ending on a win. I actually don't care too much whether I end on a win or not because, like, you know, if you care about that, what's going to happen is you're going to like be like, oh man, I lost that one. I have to play another one so that I end on a win. And then you end up in this toxic spiral of like playing games until you win. When you're playing that way, you tend to lose a lot, like really, really badly. So it's kind of better to just be like, okay, well, I ended on whatever I ended on. Is kind of my view on that. But yeah, or at least that's the attitude I'm trying to adopt. The reason I'm saying that is because I've started playing League of Legends a little bit again, but I don't play very much of it. But yeah, if you're saying you can't end it on either, yeah, that's how that works. I started playing League of Legends again a little bit. I still like that game. I still play it. I just go to like until I'm in silver, and then I'm like, okay, that was great, and then I stop. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, my opinion is never worry about that, but at the same time, I can definitely see why people do. I just try not to. But if you ever start League of Legends again, you absolutely cannot adopt the attitude of I need to end on a win because you will just die. But in any event, though, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a quick stream. I just have to head out, get to dinner. But yeah, hope you found this one enjoyable. I'll see you guys on Monday. I'll try and figure out what I'm doing on Monday. I'm not too sure yet, but yeah, I'll talk to you on Monday. Hope you found this one enjoyable. Hope to see you guys all next time.